Hi everyone, hello, my name is Matthew Swearingen. I was born in New York City. I was raised in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Tennessee and I became a man right here in Washington, D.C. where I currently live and am leaving as of tomorrow on President's Day. I've been here for 1 year and I enjoyed that year very, very much, but it's also been extremely strange. This is an odd place. It's much different as compared to the States. And there has been, a lot of debate and a lot of, political discussion that has gone on since I've been here because of the most recent inauguration. Now, this past, Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2017, spent all day in a suit and bow tie making a video from a book that I wrote with God as my muse called The Ought Not, and I am struggling with myself as to whether or not to post that. I'm definitely going to post this video, so hello, but I'm a little worried about how you all, especially those in power, might react to some of the things that I have said in it. Now, I did, as I mentioned, read it aloud out in public. I went all around D.C. in front of the White House, in front of the Supreme Court, the Capitol building, the Library of Congress, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, all around here into museums, and delivered this material, which I can tell you is summarized by saying the Trump and Pence presidency is unconstitutional. Now, how do I know that? Am I just using words? No. I think it's best to tell you a little bit of my resume before I carry on with how I figured that out. I am, it has become apparent, one of the smartest people alive. Now, I know how that might seem to some of you, somebody talking about their intelligence. It's very annoying to those of you all who might not be that intelligent. I'm not bragging. I'm only telling you this so that maybe you'll listen to what I am telling you, what I've figured out. So, my mother had me tested when I was a child and my IQ is 159. I have an Associate's of Science degree. You can see it on the wall over there. I'm working on completing a bachelor's in biochemistry. I attended the University of Tennessee for biochemistry. I also study Mandarin Chinese. I'm 34 and a third years old. At 33, I just began playing piano, and especially when no one's around, can play it quite beautifully. You can see my guitar chords behind me. Just 7 months ago, started playing guitar, and I can play some songs quite beautifully. I'm going to be working on that. I'd like to be a rock star, but that has really nothing to do with the reason why I'm coming to you today. As you can see, I'll show you. I have my periodic table on the wall. I now have it memorized. I will spare you reciting it right now because I know that that might be boring to some of you, and I really want to capture your attention because let's see, a couple more things I should tell you. I won the National Math League Award as I was a child for most accelerated math skills in elementary school in Texas. In high school I scored in the 98th percentile on the ASVAB. In my best semester in college I took 26 core credit hours, including Organic Chemistry 2, Anatomy and Physiology 2, Biology 2, Calculus 3, Intermediate Mandarin Chinese 2, American Sign Language 2, all kinds of labs, Physics 2, each one of those science classes had a lab with it. The total was 11 classes. I took 11 classes for 26 core credit hours. I do believe my GPA for that one particular semester was a 3.7. My total GPA, I've completed over 130 hours, I think right around 132, 133 core credit hours in 5-6 semesters of college just for my associate's degree. I loved it. I enjoyed it all. Like my Calculus 3 professor told me that the staff would speak about me at my community college, and they were just in awe of my academic fervor because, like, for one semester, especially, that's all I did was school for every waking hour. As a child, I don't know why, but I carved John 3:16. I do know why, but that's in a different video. I carved John 3:16 into a block of wood for my mother. I carved a lymph node out of a solid block of wood for art class, or excuse me, for anatomy class in my community college. It was absolutely beautiful. It was voted on and won first place. I've also experienced many omens over my life. As a child, I was told by evangelists at different times that I had a higher calling by God. Now, I know a lot of you are not religious. I am not a religious person, but I do love God very, very much. I've come to take that seriously, especially because of all of the oddities that I've experienced over my life. Like once a bird flew through my bedroom window. The blinds were closed and the screen was on. I was laying in bed contemplating existence and praying, and a small finch-like fellow flew through my window, straight through the screen and the blinds, and perched itself on a curtain rod. I spoke to it for a little while, gently whispering, and got up and took a shower. When I came back, it was gone. Many other things like that have occurred to me. I will spare you the details at this moment, because after I release the Ought Not, you'll see a lot of it in there. I'm speaking with you today for a couple reasons. I am about to bicycle across country from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, California, approximately 3,500 miles. I've worked out the details of it, some with the assistance of my roommates to work out an appropriate path so that I don't stress myself too terribly. I want to go by the Grand Canyon. I'm going to post some GoPro videos of it along the way, but it's 8,000 feet elevation, so I don't know. It depends on how I feel when I get there, whether or not I'll want to subject myself to that. But here is my bicycle right here. It's a Cannondale, very nice bicycle. See, I can mount this GoPro onto it right here on the handlebars. I have a really nice tripod that it's on. It's very cool. I've got my memory foam seat and everything. This backpack is going to be fully stocked with survival gear and different things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to go all like Man vs. Wild about this and just bear the elements. I will sleep out, camp out a couple times. I'm going to get myself a sleeping bag tomorrow before I leave, which I actually chose President's Day to leave, which I did not know that was President's Day. I actually wanted to leave on February 16th. February 16th, 2016 was the day I came to Washington, D.C., and I told people I'd be here for a year. I thought I'd be here for about a year and a half, but the opportunity arose for me to go ahead and leave now. And I thought, well, I want to be here for exactly a year, so I'm going to take off on February 16th, 2017. But then a couple things happened. A piece of mail didn't show up on time, and it's like an anti-pollution face mask, and I had to wait for it. So I ended up deciding to leave this Monday, which is tomorrow, and I found out that it's President's Day, which is another one of those pieces of irony for me, because I actually would like to run for president one day. I intend to run for president one day. However, there's a whole lot of things I discuss with you in the Ought Not that might make that unnecessary, hopefully, because it's pretty much time for us to do things differently. I know you all know this. I know it's like it's a looming thought in the mind of everyone alive. Our best actor, Leonardo DiCaprio, just took the time and did the hard work awesome job, Leonardo DiCaprio, tell us about global warming and do it in a very nice cinematic way so that people would be interested in learning about global warming. And Al Gore has done really good job. Al Gore, I haven't seen all of your movies, but I know that you're a proponent for the planet, and you along with Leonardo DiCaprio, you two, Al Gore and Leonardo DiCaprio, have done a lot of hard work. You've rolled your sleeves up and gotten out there to tell us what we've been doing to the planet. We've been destroying the ocean. It's acidifying. The coral reef is dissolving. We're over-harvesting our fish. The largest fish are now half the size of what they used to be. Everybody knows how the polar bears are going extinct. It seems as though, I think I heard that we've already killed off like half the life forms on this earth that were once here as of the time we evolved into what we think of as humans, as Homo sapiens, etc. Which I'm of the opinion that we have evolved past that. I know it's difficult along timelines to determine when one species specifically evolves into another without some cataclysmic change forcing them to survive, survival of the fittest. But it appears as though our technology and our internet, our common database has allowed us to begin evolving into that next stage of human, whatever we might call it. I've coined a term, but if you all want to decide for yourselves, then that's great. That's part of what we're discussing. That's part of what we're discussing in the Ought Not, is the vote. Vote on it. It seems as though some bad things are looming. With the new presidency, we have a lot of destructive legislation coming forth. This immigration ban is a step backwards for us. America has already gone past not allowing other people in the world into our nation, and now, we have our current presidential cabinet telling us that we should not allow certain people into our nation. Specifically, everyone knows. I mean, it's obvious that he is specifically talking about Muslims and Islam because of radical Islamists, which I will deter from speaking about here. But we need to take very seriously what it appears they're trying to do to our great nation. I mean, America has been blessed by God, and so has the entire world, for that matter. God bless everyone. I really hope that you all are about to pay attention to what I'm going to tell you right now. I went to the archives and I read the Declaration of Independence, and I looked over the Constitution, and I looked over the Bill of Rights, and I read the 27 amendments, and it dawned on me that, as I mentioned earlier, the current presidential cabinet is unconstitutional. This is why. The 12th Amendment specifically calls for ballots. As of the time our democracy was founded by our founding fathers, they were Freemasons, and ballots were black balls. They would put a black ball in the ballot box of the man that they did not want to be elected. And that became written on slips of paper, meant as physical evidences of a vote to be counted. Now, our new electronic voting system is susceptible to hacking, and there's a very big discussion about whether or not it was hacked by Russia or some other nation. It's like, at this point, it doesn't matter. I care very much, and there are a lot of people out there that care, so to say who cares is inappropriate, and I hope all of you care, because now we have the opportunity to act. I've just told you that our current voting system is unconstitutional. We are meant to be voting by physical pieces of evidence that we can count and scrutinize. But an electronic voting system doesn't necessarily allow that. The electron can and has been manipulated, and there are very creative people out there who can delve into these systems and change things. They can hack them. You even have Donald Trump telling you that there was voter fraud. Now, aside from whether or not Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, it doesn't matter any longer. This is about removing Donald Trump and Mike Pence from the White House. They do not know what they're doing. They're causing trouble for us all. They're pissing off foreign nations. They are representing us in a manner not all of us respect. The majority of us do not respect. I watch CNN and I hear our most intelligent political minds basically talking shit about them because they're doing such a bad job. Now, I read a Washington Post the other day, and there were 23 headlines in there that were just apocalyptic. There is a prophecy looming over our species, our world, because the world is what we've made of our way of life. A prophecy looming over our world that this time is a great time of change. They call it, some religions call it the end times. If you correlate that with astrology, you would call that the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. Even the Mayan calendar ended around now, and a lot of people think that, okay, they just made that calendar and then they didn't have time, or they didn't have the continuation of their civilization to make another one following it. But all that aside, it's time for us to do something different. These cars, these Henry Ford everyman automobiles that seemingly propelled us into the future are destroying our planet. Combustion engines are an efficient form of entropy. Okay, so we are taking organized long-chain hydrocarbons out of the earth, breaking them down very quickly and efficiently into small molecules like carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide, and leaking them out into the atmosphere. That is entropy. That's causing a very great amount of disorder. And we now know that all reactions do not proceed unless they cause more disorder in the universe. We have to come up with a way to basically use that to our advantage. And the first thing it seems as though we need to do, now I know a lot of you don't want to just give up your personal automobile, but we can make it, we have the technology to make it illegal to produce new combustion engines. There's no need for them anymore. Thanks to companies like Tesla